Y'all want to welcome all my patrons. I want to thank you guys for being here for video 2, verse 2 of the Tao Te Ching. If you're only seeing this 1 minute snippet, it's because you're not on Patreon. But join my Patreon and you can get the entire video. The majority of the videos will be only on Patreon. So verse 2 goes, when people see some things as beautiful, other things become ugly. When people see some things as good, other things become bad. Being and non-being create each other. Difficult and easy support each other. Long and short define each other. High and low depends on each other. Before and after follow each other. Therefore, the master acts without doing anything and teaches without saying anything. Things arise and she lets them come. Things disappear and she lets them go. She has but does not possess. Acts but does not expect. When her work is done, she forgets it. That is why it lasts forever. This is one of the most important verses in the Tao. And I want to thank everybody for being here and all my patrons for being patrons. And that is why you're getting purposeful studies just for you that other people will never see. So I appreciate you guys for being here. I always want to say that. And I ask you to continue to support the channel as we build this temple of wisdom. And always remember, the true temple of wisdom is the one that's inside you. So the Tao Te Ching, verse 2. As I said, this is a very, very important verse. When you take it into its full understanding. And we're going to go almost line for line, but really we're going to go subject for subject. When people see things, when people see some things as beautiful, other things become ugly. It is about the contrast. It is about the existing on this matter plane. The alchemy and the hermetic idea of the law of polarity, that everything is on a scale, but we have different varying degrees. It is the comparison that creates the scale. If we say something is beautiful, then on the opposite end of the scale is ugly. And then there is everything in between based on the perspective of the person looking. And as you guys have heard me say many times before, when you label me, you negate me. By adding the labels of beautiful and ugly, we negate the essence of what it is. Take, for instance, this iPad. Nope, not an iPad. Let's use something in nature. Take a pineapple. I love pineapples. Pineapples is a great fruit. I love it. We call it a pineapple. If we want to understand if we want to know how to spell it, we want to see the word, we look it up in a dictionary. We want to know more about it, more how it grows, where it comes from. We can look it up in an encyclopedia. But if we truly want to know a pineapple, the first thing we have to do is go out and find where pineapples grow. We have to get a guide, get a knowing of where they grow. As we see how they grow, we see that the pineapple grows from, I think the pineapple grows as a bush. I'm not sure. I don't think it grows. It doesn't grow as a tree. It grows as like a bush or a vine. We see the pineapple. We see how it grows. We see where it grows. I've always thought pineapples were indigenous to Hawaii, but they're not. It's actually a Caribbean fruit. So the pineapple grows naturally in that natural environment. If we did not know it to be a pineapple, we would still taste the same thing. It will still taste just as sweet. But it is not until we actually taste the pineapple that we know the pineapple. What is this saying, the poetry saying? A rose by any other name would still smell as sweet. A pineapple by any other name would still taste as sweet. If a pineapple was called an orange, if it was called a tomato, if a pineapple was called a turd, it would still taste just as sweet. So it is nothing in the naming. It is all within what it is, its true essence. But in our world, in the way that we are naturally grown to be, we do comparisons. When someone sees things as beautiful, other things become ugly. Without the knowledge, without calling something beautiful, without that, then all things are beautiful. All things. When people see some things are good, other things become bad. Now, I know on this one you can say that there are certain things that are not good. As I said before, in this temple of wisdom, what we look for, one of the primary things is do what thou wilt without trampling on another person's rights to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. So when you murder someone, take their life, trample on their right to life, then yes, we will draw a line in the sand and say that is bad, because the comparison of that, it is not so much the death, but the main comparison to that is you've robbed them of life. You've taken away their opportunity to have life. You've taken away their liberties to walk around, to speak, their liberty to be themselves. You've taken their essence on this matter plane to be able to pursue whatever happiness that they have decided that they want to pursue on this matter plane. You've taken that away, and that you've done that by inflicting your will on someone else's. That is one of the only thing we would call bad. But as long as what you're doing doesn't cause any problems with someone, which doesn't inflict on their life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, then it is not bad. If two people want to be homosexuals, they're not harming anyone else, we're not going to say it's bad. If what people do in their bedrooms has a detrimental effect on society, I first must ask, how does it have a detrimental effect in society? Because the same can be said to a man and a woman performing oral sex, a man and a woman having anal sex, a man and a woman participating in BDSM. Any of those things on a whole can be said to be a bad imprint on society. So we can't just label out and pick what we like or pick what we want that will fit fit our little narrative. So there is the hard line in the sand. Life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Everybody should have that. Everybody has that inalienable right, straight out the Declaration of Independence. But it's a great line. It's a great theory of thought. But being and non-being create each other. Without non-being, there cannot be being. Right? Without non-existence, there can't be existence. This is why your biblical stories and other stories first talk about the chaos or the darkness, or there being nothing, and from the nothing there was light and there was all creation. Because from being and non-being, they create each other. You can't have one without the other. There must be one before the other one, or with the other one. The difficult and the easy support each other. We may call something, I may say that this is easy, but for you it may be difficult. Losing weight for me, when I apply myself, is easy. But for you it may be difficult. My level of focus, and this is one thing I realized. My level of focus on a romantic relationship when I'm involved in one, it's easy for me to have a mindset that is always focused on making the relationship better, caring for the person, considering the person. But I've learned that for most people, having a relationship is difficult. Working on the relationship is difficult, which is why we put it on the back burner. We put it in a state where we allow everything else to take precedence over our day. Work take precedence, driving take precedence, sleeping takes precedence, watching a television show or a movie takes precedence, watching sports takes precedence, hanging out with friends takes precedence, children takes precedence, church religions takes precedence over your mate. The mate is the one thing that you plan on having in your life for the rest of your life, other than your God, whatever you call God. But even that changes. But your mate is somebody that you say, I want this person with me forever. But that is difficult for most people, to put the emphasis and the importance on that person. The long and the short define each other. How do you know what is long without knowing what is short? If I have a thread by itself, is it long or is it short? What is it compared to? High and low depend on each other. Without being able to establish low, you cannot know high. And without being able to establish high, you cannot know low. It is all connected. Before and after follow each other. It's sequential. They follow each other always. There is always a before and after. As far as the east is to the west, which is right here, they both meet in the same spot. Before and after meet in the same spot. High and low meet in the same spot. Long and short, they all meet in the same spot. But the master, the person who has become an adept and elevated themselves out of the prison of this fleshly, material, matter plane reality, the master, the one that gains the Buddha mind, the Christ head, samadhi, whatever you want to call it, the person who gains enlightenment, who becomes conscious, the master acts without doing. and teaches without saying. The master doesn't have to, you don't have to always have your hand involved in everything. One of the best ways to teach is by ensuring that you are demonstrating it. You see, masters just do. They just do. They don't talk about it, they be about it. They just do it. They just allow for everything around them to flourish. They allow for everything around them to grow. They allow for the natural order of things to occur. They're doing without doing. They're being in their non-being. They teach without saying anything because the master's life is a testimony to the teaching. Just like your life right now is a testimony to the teachings that you've had, to the teachings of who you are. Your life is a testimony. Things arise and she lets them come. One thing I love about the Tao, it interchanges the idea of God from male to female. One verse may have it as male, one verse may have it as female. It's a beautiful thing, right? But things arise and she lets them come. Allows nature, the natural order of things to flow. Allows things to gravitate to it. And do not hold them back. Do not deny anything. You do not deny anything. You remember, if you grew up Christian, then there was that verse where Peter was told, do not deny yourself of any of the foods that you're going to be offered, even though it goes against the rules. But the master allows things to come. Whatever comes, they allow it. Bad, what we consider bad or good, negative or positive, bad or good, because their concepts, they understand that the law of polarity, that there is many different variations of each one of those on the pole. So they allow things to just come to them. Things disappear and she lets them go. If a person leaves your life, let them go. Your children will grow up and go have their own families, let them go. This job will continue on without you, so let it go. Your job, you may leave the job, let it go. Let it go. You may get fired, let it go. You may lose a car, lose a house, let it go. When things are taken away from you, when things are removed from you, let them go. There is no need to keep on holding on, to keep driving that emotion that just buries you into a state of depression because you're feeling lost. When someone transitions from this existence, let them go. If you're if you study ancestry, you are anchoring down those people. You're anchoring down their spirit. Allow their spirit to go. She has, but doesn't possess. The Native Americans had an understanding that no one owned the land. The land is just here. The land is for you to eat from it, for you to develop from it, for you to shelter yourself from it. The tree is just here. You don't own the tree. The tree was here before you. It'll be here after you. You don't own the tree, right? So, but you have it within your grasp. You can use the land. You can use the house. You can use the tree. You can use the fruit. You have it, but you don't have to possess it. You have a relationship, but you don't possess the relationship. Act, but doesn't expect. That is the idea of agape love, to love without the expectation of love return, to give without the expectation of a return. Now, to a certain degree, if you invest, that's differently. Investing is I'm putting something with something out that normally has a return. I'm planting seeds because it's going to get a return. But when you do acts of kindness, as you walk through your life, as you see people, you deal with people, you deal with just things that are just of life, not of how to sustain your life, but just of life. Act without expectation. Without expectation. And even when you're doing those things, you invest, you have a decent expectation of an ROI, but you're open to whatever comes. Whatever comes. You're not counting your chickens before they hatch. When her work is done, she forgets. That is why it lasts forever. Just do your work. And don't worry about the credit. Don't worry about the accolades. Don't look for someone to give you a pat on the back. Be confident within yourself that you did the work. Know that the work was done and that you continue and it is a benefit to whomever it benefits. And you continue. You continue. You're not worried about recognition. You're not worried about getting the credit. You just do it. You just do it. As I've been in relationships, And one of the things I always notice is that how people, if I said that, well, you left the cabinets open. I did. You left the cabinets open. Well, you left the toilet seat up. We weren't talking about that. Let's talk about the fact you left the cabinets open. Why you got to throw something back? Accept that it is. Accept that whatever has happened, happened. You clean the house. If they walk in and don't show gratitude, I mean, you know what kind of person you're dealing with. Maybe you don't want to be with that person. But if they have to show you gratitude every time, like when I open the door for a young lady, it's nice if she says thank you. But if we haven't opened the door for 10 years, 5 years, 10 months, 5 months, and they don't say thank you, it doesn't bother me. Because I'm not opening the door looking for recognition. I'm not opening the door looking for credit. I'm opening the door because I'm just acting without expectation. I'm just completing things without looking for the recognition or the results of it. So that was verse 2 of the Tao. I really want to hear you guys' comments about it. Put it down in the bottom of your comments. Let me know what you think about this verse. Really meditate on this verse for the next 3-4 days. For the next 3-4 days, I want you to meditate on this verse. So y'all have a great day. Remember, you have to free yourself to be yourself because your greatness is not negotiable.